concerning the LA Clippers owner Donald Sterling. The NBA is currently investigating an audio recording reportedly of Sterling making racist remarks to his girlfriend, which was released by TMZ Saturday morning. Anger, frustration, and calls for action echoed around the NBA after the recording surfaced. Current, former coaches and players including Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, who was specifically mentioned in the tape, even President Barack Obama said the remarks were highly offensive and looking to NBA Commissioner Adam Silver to take appropriate action. Clippers coach Doc Rivers and point guard Chris Paul also made statements as their focus is on the playoffs. Everybody except for Sterling, who has a decades-long history of discrimination and offensive behavior, seem to have a response. So my question to you is, what are your thoughts on the disturbing comments made by Sterling, and what is the appropriate action?
Yeah, obviously this has been not only the biggest sports story, but I would say one of the bigger news stories in the last couple of days, and obviously today with the Clippers taking on the Warriors. And it's plain and simple, there is no place for this type of behavior, for this type of language in the NBA. Now, I agree with everything that Adam Silver said today in his press conference. The due process that Donald Sterling will get, rightfully so, and you don't know all the facts because there's been a lot of cases, politics, news, sports, whatever you want to say, that we thought a case was going one way, but it ends up being the opposite way. But if this is true, this is a huge black eye for the NBA, and a lot of the backlash today was very intriguing to see. Jalen Rose on the ESPN NBA Sunday Countdown said the Clippers shouldn't even play today. They should have sat on the bench, and until Donald Sterling was reprimanded, they would just sit there. Obviously, you saw in the video there of them taking off their shirts, just wore the red shirts
inside out,
Yeah.
not
So
representing the
couldn't see
Clippers logo. And this is going to play out the next couple of days, but a huge black eye for the NBA right now.
Matt, I've agreed with what you said, but the difference is, in terms of playing this game, where I disagree with Jalen Rose, these players have their own personal dream, and they happen to be on the Clippers. They have no control over what the owner says. But you play for a dream, and their dream is to win the NBA championship. You don't put that dream on hold because of this situation. Do you protest? Yes. Do you have, obviously there's a stance to be made, but until all of the facts are known, until this, you can't jump to conclusions, because if all of a sudden they sit for this game, and what if the tape is altered? What if something's wrong and this isn't really him? Well, then everything the backlash gets even worse, and there's all of this talk. Do I think that it's altered? No. Do I think that Donald Sterling has any place in the NBA? No. He cannot be an NBA owner. He cannot. That mentality in that league, it cannot happen, and it can't happen in any league. You know what? It's not an acceptable human standpoint to have.
And also, how about the fact of him calling out basically Magic Johnson and saying, "Don't bring Magic to my games," along with Jerry West and Larry Bird and Michael Jordan. I mean, this is one of the top 5 most influential guys who might have ever played the game itself. So, how this plays out is very intriguing. But to counter your point, I think, remember, they're playing for the Clippers, but Donald Sterling is their owner. Although he's paying for these guys' meals and their houses and stuff, they're representing him. They're representing his team, his organization, his values as well. Obviously,
but do you put your personal dreams on hold for someone else?
I mean, they're playing for themselves.
Granted, they got blown out today.
Well,
so it wasn't
the
even
biggest
a game.
loser would have been the fans of them sitting out or having some sort of players. If total hypothetical here, but if like a Jamal Crawford took this so offensive and he said, I'm not going to play today. I'm gonna send a message. That would be bad, but not to go strange, but funny how the Mark Cuban NFL drama has been going on. No comment from Mark Cuban on this thus far.
Yeah, and it feels like we've just dropped backwards 50 years in some senses. But in other senses, you look at the way that this has been taken. People are offended. It doesn't matter what color you are, what your race, what your ethnicity. People are offended by this, and it shows that as a whole and as a collective, this isn't okay. Yeah. It is less common than it was, and there is no place for it to be at all. But I think it's a step in the right direction. On another note, soccer, Dani Alves has a banana thrown at him on the field in a Barcelona game, picks it up, eats it, continues on with his kick. You got to take it with humor because there's only so much you can do. You can't let it get to you if you're the athlete.
Right, well, it's definitely sad that this kind of thought still exists, but let's move on to the baseball